Hello, today I want to talk about some of the educational videos that we're going to be releasing over the next couple of weeks because I still find education to be a really strong critical component of understanding the banking fraud today and understanding the necessary steps that you have to take in order to protect yourself from what's coming, because a lot is brewing underneath the surface right now. There's going to be a great reversal in asset performance, meaning that developed stock markets are going to crash tremendously because people don't understand their bubbles. But if you know what data to look at, you can obviously see that it's just the US Fed Reserve that is pumping up, say, US stock markets, or the ECB pumping up European stock markets that have kept these stock markets afloat. And so you know it's unsustainable, it's going to crash, and there's going to be a great reversal in the fact that the assets that have been performing well up to this point because of fraud are going to crash, and then the assets that are being suppressed, like gold and silver, are going to soar. So there is going to be a great reversal in that aspect. So if you don't understand fraud, you're not going to understand this. So you're not going to do what's necessary to protect yourself. On the other hand, too, a lot of people are not willing to even consider the fact that the banking system is a criminal system. You get either one of two excuses I hear from bank employees as far as why they're staying in the system. They say the problem is not the bankers. They say it's only a few bad apples in the barrel, like the Lloyd Blanc fines of Goldman Sachs, the Jamie Dimons of J.P. Morgan, Brian Moynihan's of Bank of America, the Stuart Gullivers of HSBC. So they said, oh, it's just the people at the top that are bad. But that is patently untrue as well, because they say, oh, it's just the system. Blame the system, but don't blame the bankers. That's what I hear all the time from bank employees. But the problem is the whole system is a criminal system. So that's like saying when apartheid existed in South Africa, that's like saying, don't blame the white supremacists that are running apartheid. They're not the bad people. It's just the system. But you have to understand the system cannot exist without the participation of those within that are supporting the system. So every bank employee supports the system. So I understand that there are lots of good people still within the banking system, but the problem is they're supporting a criminal system. So they should walk away, because what's going to happen when this banking system collapses, and it is going to collapse. So they are right in saying that the system is the problem, but it is also all the bank employees are part of the problem too, whether they're flat out crooks like Lloyd Blankfein, Jamie Dimon, or just the employees supporting it. Because when apartheid collapsed, people came after everyone that supported apartheid. So that's going to happen, I believe, in the banking system too, because things are going to get so bad for the middle class that are going to devolve into poverty. You already see it happening now. And as you know, the saying is, when people have nothing to lose, that's when they turn violent and that's when they revolt. Although I don't want to see that happen. I cannot see that not happening at this point, unless people really wake up to the criminality system, unless they voluntarily leave the system, unless they voluntarily come up with solutions right now. But we're not on the path. We're on the path to violence now. So what is best is for the good people to get out now, because people are going to come after everyone in the banking system when things fall apart. So I'm also saying this for the sake of good people within the banking system, that they need to realize this. One of the reasons a lot of people don't realize how criminal the banking system is because we have been taught lies in school. We haven't been taught the truth about the criminality of the banking system. Most people don't even think about it, but banks don't even make their money from banking. That is an insane thing. Banks serve as a hedge fund, meaning they are taking the deposits that you give them, which is basically you're loaning that to the banks, because it is the asset of the bank, and it is, basically, if you look at the fine print, your deposits become an asset of the bank, and they're your liability, and they are basically taking enormous risks to make money. So they operate more like a hedge fund. They don't even make they make hardly any of their money from typical banking services. They make all their money from basically hedge fund activity. So it's quite ironic, because there are people out there that say they're so conservative. Oh, I would never invest in a hedge fund. But yet they put their money willingly in a bank that is a hedge fund. So they have to understand your deposits are not safe in that regard. And then when I talk about banks being criminal entities, they deliberately create poverty. That is a crazy thing. They deliberately support wars. They deliberately create most of what is causing misery in the world today. So, that's why I made a video. Go check out the video in which I talk about if the former notorious drug lord of the Medellin cocaine cartel, Pablo Escobar, actually provided more social value than today's big banks, because I think he did. Because if I had a choice to make, go watch that video. Again, I would work for a drug cartel over a bank if I had to work for one or the other, a big global bank, because I am doing less harm. Both are harmful, but I'm doing far less harm working for a drug cartel than I am for a big global bank. Because big global banks hurt everyone on earth, all 6.8 billion people, except for the top maybe 0.001% of the world that capitalize on the criminal banking system, because they themselves are criminals, like Warren Buffett and all those other criminal entities, institutions, and people out there. So, when I say they deliberately do these things, there is indisputable evidence. Look at HSBC, who deliberately does business with terrorists. So there was a whistleblower. Go Google or YouTube Everett Stern. He's an HSBC whistleblower that said that HSBC's system was generating, he said, 50,000 to 100,000 alerts of suspicious activity, where really a SARS, a suspicious activity report, should have been generated. But HSBC didn't want that, he said. So he said he looked into it further, and for example, there's OFAC, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, that has a list. They give all the banks of terrorists they cannot do business with. And he said on that list was an African grocery store called Tajiko, because they were financing Hezbollah. So he said that he saw HSBC, they would do wire transfers to get around it. Tajiko would be the TAJCO. He said they would just write TAJ.CO or TAJ-CO or TAJ/CO. So the computers wouldn't pick it up because they're looking for exact matches. So obviously it is deliberate criminal intent. They are doing things to get around not getting caught. And it is so indisputable. He said he gave this evidence to the Attorney General of the United States, to Eric Holder. And Eric Holder did nothing. So don't depend upon the government. The government is just as crooked as these criminal banking cartels. They are not going to do anything to save you. So watch this video by billionaire hedge fund manager Stanley Druckenmiller, who basically said the U.S. Federal Reserve, the U.S. Central Bank, is robbing the poor to pay the rich. Okay, I'm going to insert this video now, so check it out.
First of all, as a practitioner in markets, I love this stuff. Right. Okay, this is fantastic. It's fantastic for every rich person. This is the biggest redistribution of wealth from the middle class and the poor to the rich ever.
Okay, so you saw Stanley Druckenmiller, who admits that the U.S. Federal Reserve is basically just robbing the poor to pay the rich. And that's how people like Warren Buffett, that contribute zero value to society, along with Charlie Munger, along with all these other crooks that just make money from the criminality of the U.S. Central Bank and other central banks, that you have to realize that the system is criminal. And the only reason you don't really get it is because of course, they don't teach you in school the truth about the monetary system, the truth about banking. So that's why I'm going to talk about some of these things. And you have to realize it's unsustainable. So there are a lot of paper millionaires out there. And even if you're in the wrong assets, if you're in the wrong regions of the world and you deal in real estate, there's some huge real estate bubbles that have been created by central banks. You have to understand what you're going to do, what's going to happen, because what is going to happen is that a lot of these paper millionaires, or even if you're in the wrong assets, such as real estate in the wrong regions, they are going also to have their wealth destroyed by central banks. So they might be riding a good wave right now, but in the end, the fraud and the criminality of the whole system is going to bring actually everyone down except the very, very richest billionaires in the world that are in on this system, that are very, very close to this system, so they understand when to get out. So, you know, people say, what are the solutions? Are there solutions? Of course there are solutions, and I'm also going to be talking about this in upcoming videos. So that's why I'm making this video, to let you know over the next couple of weeks I'm going to be releasing articles on my blog at www.smartknowledgeu.com/blog, and also I'm going to be releasing more videos of this nature on my YouTube channel here, so hit the subscribe button below. Also, I have solutions I've also written in my book, The Golden Gift. So if you want to know what solutions are for a peaceful, because I'd rather have a peaceful solution than a violent solution, you can buy The Golden Gift, because there are solutions. But the problem with implementing these solutions is that you have to understand and accept the fraud and criminality of our modern banking system. If you don't accept it, if you wear blinders and just are blind to the blatant criminality of banks today, then you likely are not going to try to implement any of these solutions. And in the end, you're going to be hurt as well, because you're not going to take the adequate steps that are necessary to protect yourself from the massive blowback, from the massive chaos that is going to come in the global economic system if you're not positioned in the right assets. Okay, so as always, stay intensely curious. I thank you for watching. If you continue watching, if you like what you hear, if you like what you read on my blog, please do share this with others, because it is important. Again, as I said, I would much rather have a peaceful revolution than a violent revolution. But under the path we're going now, where people are not enough, I should say people aren't, because the positive thing is I see many more people today awakened to the criminality of the banking system than I did see just 5 years ago, but not enough. We haven't reached that critical mass yet. So that's what we're trying to get to, where you reach that critical mass where the knowledge just becomes viral and everyone sees it. Because if everyone sees it, then we can have peaceful change. And again, the system is bad, because banking was once good, so we can return to that right now. But the problem is you have too many corrupt people controlling the banking system, and they don't believe that this system can collapse. But I'm also going to make a video coming up really soon, which you can check out, as far as why there's a 100% chance that the US dollar, euro, pound, and yen will collapse. 100%, and I'll tell you exactly why. Okay, so stay tuned, remain intensely curious, and thanks again for watching. So long.